Hey, Aethon fans and authors. We are live and we're going to be talking about 2021 and everything that happened. We got Rhett and Steve waiting to talk with us and just go over, what a year it was, horrible or otherwise. So we're going to go through some new releases real quick, starting with His Lordship in Exile, which is book 2 of Twilight of the Chosen by T.S. Snow. Got a quick thing here. Description. What do you do if you're guilty of a crime, but not the one which you've been convicted? It's simple. You keep as low a profile as possible and hope for clemency. That's extremely difficult if you are the galaxy's former prince of the realm and now beneath the lowest rung of the society's ladder. So check that out in the space opera genre. Next, we have Will of Frenic. It's a Catalyst. It's book 6, actually. So this one's been going on for a while by C.J. Aaron in the fantasy genre. The darkness has yet to release its hold. A tentative peace is shattered as the kingdom refuses to willingly cede its control. The inherent taint of the fabled blessing is brought to light as efforts to recover the tributes resume. Those inside the stocks are given little reprieve from the horrors that have been plagued that pinned in the area through its existence. All right, next up we have Magnus by Valron Prime. This one is book 3 in Prime War. It's a military sci-fi and lit RPG, an interesting mix of genres there. A cornered man is a dangerous man, doubly so for Magnus Cromwell. The resistance has won, but it was frantic victory. With Sanctuary in flames and Nova missing, it's up to Magnus to turn the tides of war against Legatus. Will it be enough? And then one that a lot of people have been looking forward to, I've seen this all over the internet actually, book 4 and He Who Fights with Monsters. So this one, I was tempted not to give its a little blurb because it's a tiny spoiler, so plug your ears if you're not into this book yet. In the wake of an unexpected homecoming, Jason questions if there is still a place for him in the world he left behind. Forced to confront what he has become in his time away, he feels more alien than ever, but his old world is hiding secrets that he never knew. So book 4 and He Who Fights with Monsters has been really hot recently. So last one I'm going to go through is book 3 in Against the Night series, Alone, which that's one of my favorite covers, I think, so far this year. Cotter J. Thompson. The rebellion is over, Haven has fallen, and something far worse is taking its place. After the impossible choice he made to stop the Arbiter's plans, X finds himself in another world, one of eternal darkness and monsters that make the worst of nightmares seem like passing daydreams. The home of the Dark Laws, and they aren't fond of visitors. So those 5 were released over the past week, and as we go into the new year, looking forward to telling you about a whole bunch more books that are coming out. But let's welcome to the stream Steve and Rhett C. Bruno. How is it going?
Hey, everyone.
Welcome. So,
sorry.
So 2021.
Put your hands?
I don't know. You made the joke beforehand. I figured I'd make the joke.
I never know.
Shalom.
So 2021 was, I'd say, a very good year for Aethon, a very weird year for a lot of people, which is probably why it was a good year for Aethon, because I found myself escaping into books so much more frequently than I did in years prior. So tell us about Aethon's year and how you feel it changed and shifted as a company.
Well, you learned how to read last year, too, so that was fun.
Yes.
You read more, that's tends to happen. I think that the shift from 2020 to 2021 was interesting because, if we'll just talk globally, right, like people got used to, I hate this phrase, but I'll use it anyway, the new normal. I think there was a lot of chaos and crazy stuff happening in 2020 that still was happening in 2021, but like people learned how to navigate the waters. And so we returned to book buying, we returned to reading. People were, you said you escaped. Well, I think maybe 2020, people weren't ready to escape yet. By 2021, I think everyone was kind of there. And we have a tremendous group of readers that carried over, and we have some of our most loyal readers here in the chat with us today. Christopher Morgan being one of them. I think he's read every single book we've ever put out, which is a huge undertaking. But
well,
yeah,
I'm one reader when I release mine.
I think he said like 250 this year or something crazy like that.
Yeah, he's read. I swear, man, we've done 240 books, 250 books. He's read all of them. I say that, but he's not the only one. And I think that we've seen so many loyal Aethon readers. I don't want to say necessarily keeping us afloat, because the grand reader board out there is doing that, but it helps us feel like we're doing something tremendous and exciting. So 2021 was a great year. There were a lot of books and a lot of readers.
Yeah. So on top of which, you guys, as well as publishing tons of other works, y'all have put out a tremendous number of books this year and last year. I mean, how many books did you two between y'all put out this year yourselves?
2021,
I think 3 or 4.
Let's see. I feel like I put out the whole Raptor series, books 1, 2, and 3. I put out books 1 and 2 of Jeff the Game Master. Sorry, I'm looking at my wall, which has my covers on there. And then Rhett and I put out This Long Vigil together.
Yeah, I did Vicarious.
You did Vicarious.
Rush
You did the
Fire.
Roach. Actually, the Roach came out early 20.
No, the Roach was the last 2 days of 2020. So I mean,
Potato.
doesn't count.
So I mean, call it 9, call it 8. I don't know. And people
a lot more of other people's books.
What's that?
A lot more of other people's books.
Sure. And people always ask how we do that, and just full transparency, Rhett and I don't write a book and then release it the next day, right? We sort of hoard our stuff and make sure that we have the right plan of action. And so things that we wrote, This Long Vigil was written years and years ago. Vicarious was written years and years ago. As a matter of fact, I think I edited Vicarious twice for Rhett since he wrote it.
Yeah.
And he rewrote it one time. So we have a process, and we do that process.
What do you feel your biggest win, either as an author or as a company with Aethon Books? What do you feel the biggest win of the year was for y'all, or a couple if you have some?
I mean, it's unfortunately too easy. He Who Fights with Monsters was just a massive hit, the likes of which most people never see. But we've had a bunch. I mean, Rick Partlow's Drop Trooper is still killing. Battleship Leviathan is killing. Defiance of the Fall. Legend of Randomly Ghost Hound, and just a ton of others from debut authors that just really took off. Like Steve said, it's been a really good year. Obviously, we do, with ourselves, we try to build up stock of things and release them properly. And I think in 2020 with audio, there was a lot of uncertainty. A lot of the audio publishers were slowing down, or we weren't sure if producing ourselves was smart yet. And so we had a lot of stuff just saved up for 2021. That saw a lot of books coming out because of that, because all these audio publishers were kind of all right, well, this is the world now, and got back in it.
Yeah.
There's lots of audio. I mean, y'all hit #1 in Audible for Dead Acre. I feel like there is a massive shift in the audio world, and y'all were fortunately on top of that.
Yeah, we made our bed, and luckily it was comfortable to sleep in. So I think that it was the right moves to make. I threw up Andre Nadir's "What's y'all's favorite book that you published this year?" just to tell you it was Actus, which is our friend here. So Cleaver's Edge, just so you know. If any of our other authors want to ask, the answer is your book.
Yeah,
so,
all our books are our favorite, but because he's asking, it was absolutely had to be Cleaver's Edge. Yeah.
I loved Cleaver's Edge.
Cleaver's Edge was a very good book. I enjoyed it quite a bit.
I love a book that can poke fun at its own genre. And I think there's a lot of authors that do that. It's we are self-aware. Everyone decided to take a little Deadpool and flare it into their books a little bit. So great. Let's see. what do you think is shifting in the industry? What are some of the biggest shifts that people might be seeing?
I think you said it with audio. The audio shift has been really big, and it's hard to even call it a shift because although the audio industry has been around since the 70s, it's not exactly new or anything like that. The digital, what is that noise?
Raven sees Ayla outside, and she's crying, but there's snow everywhere. So
That's funny. Okay, so like audio is not new, but the digital shift that took place in, let's call it 2011, when Audible really kind of, I might be wrong on that year, but I'm just going to go with it for the sake of this conversation. 2011, like Audible really just shifted into this digital take over the world with audio thing. And so it's hard to say that there was a shift. I think that we're still experiencing the infancy of the audio industry in general. We're still trying to figure out exactly what it looks like on the grand scheme of things. We've got like Audible with their credit system, and then you've got things like Chirp Books who kind of specializes. They're owned by BookBub, so they kind of specialize in really inexpensive sales. You know, you can grab a 99-cent, $3 book, whatever it is, on audio whenever they're on sale. And then you have other things trying to break into the market like Spotify and like audiobooks.com and things like that. And they all have their own unique platform and how are they going to sell audiobooks differently. Of course, Audible, it's Amazon. They still own everything, but I think we're seeing some shifting in like new players in the game. The credit system is difficult. Every book's worth the same amount of money, regardless of how long it is. So it makes a challenge for authors of shorter books to really make any dent into the audiobook industry. And nowadays, when I say shorter books, we mean anything less than like 30 hours. I mean, it's like insane how it's hard to break in with shorter stuff. So that's the biggest shift, is watching audio find its place in the world, so to speak.
Yeah, I think when Audible created the credit system, they didn't think people were going to just bundle stuff together. It doesn't seem like anyone thought ahead of that happening.
Yeah.
But, they don't know indies. And at the same time, like the big epic fantasy guys are that long too. So it probably isn't the best system, but it's what we have.
It's what we have, yeah.
I'd say it's in a way it's at least working. I mean, if they're future far-reaching and trying to get everyone adapted to their platform, it is definitely working. So many subscribers and so much stuff that's just like, oh, I'll just keep it easy, keep it on Amazon, and who knows, they'll probably pull Prime into it somehow later. So, what is my next question? It's almost self-evident. How does this change strategy? And how does this affect next year in 2022 for Aethon? But I think I've already shifted. It's the audio world.
Yeah. Go ahead, Rhett.
Yeah, so like there's obviously the popular genres on Audible and Kindle, right? And sort of everyone, there's things that sell better than other things. That hasn't shifted much over the last few years, honestly. But for us, I think we're going to be producing a lot more of our own audio going forward. We took a step back on that a bit when Audible Plus came out, and selling on Audible was becoming really hard, and it just didn't seem worth it. But that shift seems to have slowed down because everyone probably listened to everything on Audible Plus that isn't new. And it seems back to normal. So we're going to jump back in on the Aethon audio side in a big way.
Yeah. That's been the talk for these last few weeks, is how to, what is 2022? And we think 2022 is the year that we really hit it hard with Aethon audio. I agree.
Yeah, and Kindle is Kindle. It still works the same as it always have. Then they update the algorithm here and there, but it's still Kindle, and print is still the same. It's not something we can hit that much outside of the big four, so it's kind of sticking with what we do best at this point.
Hey, if I sit just like this, does it look like I have hair?
Yes.
More like
like fancy like British hair.
This is
crown kind of thing.
This is the only way I will ever sit ever again. This is my position.
So next question I had, what advice do you have for aspiring authors, but almost want to spin that a little bit, if there are people that are interested in being published by Aethon, what specifically are the parameters and stuff that y'all are looking for, just so people can know?
Go see.
Yeah. Okay. So first of all, first and foremost, aethonbooks.com has a submission section. I think the easiest answer to that question is we put it on the website so that we don't have to answer that question. But of course, we do answer it all the time. We are looking for science fiction and fantasy. Honestly, it's a series genre. So chances are, if you come to us with a standalone novel that's, one book, one and done, we're probably not going to be able to pick it up. It's very rare that we can decide that we want to do a standalone book because, quite honestly, they're not very successful. We also get emails all the time where it says, this is one novel, it's 200,000 words, and it has series potential. We're just going to tell you right now, if you come to us, the series is necessary, and we almost want you to have the books ready to go before that process begins. It doesn't mean we won't look at it, but we're not looking for series potential. We're probably just looking for a series. But then, of course, there's a billion other answers that go into that. We don't want crazy genres. I'll be really brutally honest with you. If it's that 17 genres mashed into one, we can't do it. You got to look for the genres that are working and stick to it. That's the world that we live in today. And it's unfortunate, but it's true. Rhett gets to write the crazy stuff. The rest of us have to.
Yeah, I mean, you could put a unique spin on it, but it has to fit within the parameters of a genre.
Mm-hmm.
Like use a cool concept, but like if you're doing a space opera, if you want, but it still has to fit that genre. That's just how things sell. It's the same in TV. It's the same in film. It's the same in everything. People like the familiar with a little twist. Making up a new genre while fun means you have no fans to reach because everything is based on data and algorithms these days. Especially in the indie market, we don't have bookshelves to put something unique and cool on where we're using Amazon's systems to sell. So you really have to be smart with how you're pitching something in that way. And of course, make sure your query letter is in like English. And that the submission draft of your manuscript is like it has indents and looks like a book, because when we get something that is an entire page of text with no indents, it gets thrown out immediately because that's crazy. Like books don't look like that. Like everyone's read a book. It's kind of weird to us when we get something that doesn't even look like a book, and that's not the best first step to take.
Agreed. And I'll add, when we get a submission, we want you to focus on your books. We're not big pub. We don't. I was going to say that. It's going to sound mean. I was going to say we don't care, but that's not what I mean. We're not really as interested in who you are as an author as much as what your works are. We're selling books, not authors. This is not. We don't do like big touring stuff with authors and try to really build up authors. We build you up by selling books and hopefully create that platform. And so your submission letters really should be about your books, not necessarily your pedigree, unless of course you have some tremendous pedigree in book writing.
If it's relevant, of course.
If it's relevant, absolutely. And that's not to be mean. We don't mean like we don't care about you as a person. We truly do. But like we need to know if we can sell your books. And so if we have to respond to your submission with questions about well, okay, cool. That's who you are. Now, what about your books? You didn't do the job of submitting your books. You did a job of submitting yourself.
Yeah. And if it is a series, say it. I see a lot of people that pitch to us like we are Big Four, where it's common for them to take one book, see how it does. That's a print style. Like we can't do that way. No indie press, no self-publishing indie, like none of them do that way, really. Like if there's a series there, talk about it. It's fine. We never are going to take just one thing and hope it does well, because by the time we make that decision, it'll be too late to get the sequel out.
Yeah.
It's a much faster process.
I hope that answers it.
Definitely. Every time I interview an author with a new release on this Tuesday update, I ask for, writing advice. And so from a business standpoint, the grips advice, what would y'all say? For example, Steve, when I was talking to you, you were like, could you do this as a lit RPG? Because lit RPG is really hot right now. That is a good practical grip advice for the business side of aspiring authors. So what of that grip, easy to grip onto aspiring author advice do you have from a business standpoint?
Well, there's a lot of challenge in even the response I gave to you, right? Because the last thing you want to do is reskin something as another genre. But when you can, like your story, when you came to me, I was like, wow, this sounds like it's game lit. This sounds like it's lit RPG. Can it be done in such a way? And of course, you jumped on it. You loved the idea. That doesn't work for everything. The grip advice, this is the most imperative advice we can give is right to market. Write something
and know what your market is.
Know what your market is. Write something that will sell. I do get that a lot of people come to Aethon because they don't understand what will sell, but I'm challenged by that because like everyone's capable of doing what we do, and that is going on Amazon and seeing what's selling. They make it very simple to have, there's a top 100 in every genre. And within that top 100, you can click on each one and find the rank. If it's below 1,000, it's doing really well. If it's been 10 weeks and it's still below 1,000, it's doing really well, right? So like we look at those genres and we go, I can sell this because there's a market for it. As a matter of fact, the last question you asked, I was going to say, I really wish I could ask our readership at large, like, what genre do you want to read? Although the answer is really clear, like we know what sells. So that in itself answers what sells, right? Like, what do they want to read? Military sci-fi, game lit, space opera. Some of the things that we as authors get excited about, like the cyberpunk stuff, just doesn't sell. There's no market for it because of a variety of reasons. And so you almost have to, if you're going to write something, authors, if you're going to write something that is a difficult sell, you have to find a way of marketing it in some place that sells. If that makes sense.
Or know the best places to submit it, right? There's going to be things that sell better with an indie press working on the digital markets like we do versus the big four. Like Cyberpunk probably, if it's got really like conceptual ideas about society and politics and stuff, which Cyberpunk tends to, like that stuff is going to do better with a big four publisher because they could kind of create sellers if they want. And that's just the type of stuff they currently want. So, I mean, there's a bunch of research to go into it. But yeah, we're usually pretty upfront when someone submits something, even if we're like, this is really good, but I don't know if we're going to be able to sell it. And maybe they would rather us take the chance on it. And that's fine. Like, we're happy to do that with stuff we love. But we will be upfront and telling people like this has a very low chance of selling. But we
had one of our current authors come to us with a series that she was really excited about, and quite frankly, it was a great idea. And Rhett and I were very honest, and we said, you know what, your best bet for this would be to go the traditional route, because this is what traditional publishing wants right now. And although we could sell it, the reality is we probably wouldn't necessarily do as good a job as you might get if you were picked up by another one. So we told her, go and submit it through an agent. And I think we even helped her with find an agent that would
like try it first, and we'll always be here. But again, that's, not every genre makes sense to do that with. So we try to be as helpful in that way as possible, but all these markets are pretty different. Even audio versus Kindle, just different things sell.
Right.
Well, that's most of what I have. I know there's so many exciting things, but we talk about it all the time. The things I'm not allowed to talk about. So there's so many exciting things coming Aethon's way and opportunities and branching out and such. Is there anything exciting that you can hint? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we could talk about authors we've signed. Some of the other stuff is partnerships and things we can't talk about yet. We are really excited for some books coming up. There's some signings we've made that we'll be announcing on our website soon. If people follow our website, they'll be able to see that. We've been bringing a lot of books to the German market for any German language readers. So that's something we intend to keep growing on. But yeah, well, I mean, a lot of stuff we can't talk about yet, but we will soon. We'll be dropping a lot of stuff on the Aethon blog with announcements.
Yeah. Actus wants to know where I got my cool hat.
Where did he get his cool hat?
Where did I get my cool hat? Well, I think I pitched an idea of starting to do some product giveaways, so maybe that'll come your way next year. Maybe that is a 2022 resolution: give more merchandise away. So,
Perchance.
all right.
Perchance.
If you want to do it.
It's good answer, Rhett. Good answer.
I'll support it.
Well, I am as crappy as 2021 was in some ways. I'm very grateful for it. I enjoyed becoming, not only getting to work with y'all, but becoming fans of your work, and then getting to work with a bunch of people who I am now fans of their works. It's really cool being able to see people start to flourish and succeed, and then read their work and say, "This is really amazing stuff," and I get to talk to them, and I get to ask their advice and pick their brains and stuff like that. So
Like
being around
Cleaver's
so many
Edge.
talented people has been awesome for 2021 for me. So
I know John's favorite book is by Actus, right?
Cleaver's, yeah, it's I doubt it. Blessed Time as well, Cale Plowman. There's too many to list. I read, listened to, confession. I listened to so many books. The Houndsman, He Who Fights with Monsters. There were so many good ones. And if your author's in the comment section and I haven't gotten to your book, I very much want to get to your books, because pretty much I have not been disappointed by pretty much anything I've read at all by Aethon. Y'all have done a great job picking talented authors. So thank you for doing such a great job. So
You're welcome. How did Steve get a cool Aethon logo on the top right corner of his screen?
I mean, I could move you potentially. There you go.
There you go.
Oh, cool. There we go.
That's yours.
I wasn't sure if that was just Steve or static there.
Mine's always.
So, all right. Anything else that we want to say to the viewers?
Thank you guys very much for reading. We always do have authors hanging out in the chat. Thank you guys for trusting us with your work. But beyond that, we're just grateful that people actually care. It's a fun little community. It's a fun family, and we're excited to move forward in 2022.
Yeah, keep an eye on our website, where we will be able to announce things. I don't know if everyone follows our website, because people follow Amazon, but we're going to try to be more active about announcing things there.
Yeah.
Yep. Looking forward to those secrets coming out soon. So very excited for the development this year, and so happy to be a part of it. So thank you all for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. This time next year. So
I guess so. Yeah, that's
if
the next
not
time
sooner.
we'll be on.
I'll definitely get both of you on when we can tell some of these great developments in the future of Aethon. So, all right. Thank you for
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.